One by one, I snap off branches from a low-hanging tree and look up at the gas lamp that lights our street. Sliding the leaves off the branches, I wonder when we'll have electric lights like most everyone else in town. I'm back in the kitchen in a flash. Auntie's at the stove, stewing tomatoes and frying catfish and fatback, pouring hominy into hot water, stirring navy beans in her favorite pot. She urges me to crack some eggs. She thinks you are lazy if you do one thing at a time. Knitting while she's cooking, both breakfast and supper, makes sense to her. Playing with my paper dolls and doing homework doesn't. I sit 5 switches on the chair. She leaves the wooden spoon standing in the pot of beans. I close my eyes and hold out both hands. You'd think she'd want to be saved from a vampire. Not just smile at him because his rent's paid up for 1 whole year. Auntie turns the radio down. Now why is it wrong to go into other people's rooms? I squeeze my eyes tight. Everyone has a right to their private things and private thoughts. I am repeating what she taught me. But I feel the switches. I hear her telling me that vampires ain't real and Mr. Davenport is a writer, not a vampire who came back from the dead and is trying to make us all into vampires too. I open my eyes and stare at the switches sitting in my hand like lamb's ear. Why do I have to pull these if you never use them? She walks over to the stove and takes out the spoon. I might just use something else, Miss Too Much Mouth. Now get over here. My mouth opens wide, and then it's warm and full inside. Vampires? I quit talking so I can finish chewing. Jesus, don't you stink. She pinches her nose, opens the oven, and smiles at her blueberry pie. She asks how it can be possible for a girl to wake up smelling like 3 boys playing in the sun at high noon. I mention vampires again, and she says, there's no such thing. Werewolves and vampires are just stories people make up to sell books and get you to the picture show. Anyhow, who ever seen a colored vampire? It would be like saying men can walk on the moon. She really laughs then. I bet there are Chinese vampires, probably Jewish ones too, I tell her. Sitting at the table, I try to explain what I know. They can come in all colors. It's just, well, they started overseas, so they mostly come in white. I smell my breath. I think the garlic's wearing off. Why do you think he never goes out in the daytime? I pick up the salt box, pouring salt over both shoulders. He'll die if he does. I remember what happened earlier. Him up and about while the sun was out. Are all vampires the same? I ask myself. Or do some make up their own rules, like Auntie says I do? She tells me that I am getting too old for such foolishness. Besides, don't you hear him up there on that typewriter? She walks over to the icebox and takes out butter. She made it like she makes everything. Imagine a writer living under our very own roof. I imagine myself writing, surrounded by lots of books, all written by me. It's a silly thought, my friend Jonah thinks. I'd better satisfy myself with being a wife when I grow up, he sometimes tells me, taking in laundry, drawing my husband's bath. Auntie leaves the room, returning with Mr. Davenport still on her mind. She brings up all the times I said something was real and true when it was me making things up. If I were pretending, would I write a letter to President Eisenhower? I shook his hand last year when I went home to Pittsburgh to visit. He was at the Pennsylvania train station courting votes. Mom and Dad still have their I Like Ike signs at our house, too. Aunt Shuma tells me that the president is too busy trying to end communism and make the Koreans behave to be bothered with my shenanigans. She may be right. He never wrote me back. You rise early to help me feed all these folks, not to help yourself to another tall tale.